Hey, okay, my phone overheated, so I have to take this in two parts. And this part is going to be more about the protest going on right now. But let me just paint the picture real quick since since we last spoke, okay, and a few months ago. We went from the greatest economy in the world, people asking for millions of dollars for their apartments, um, people making a ton of money on rent, people making a ton of money on Airbnb, um, IPOs out the wazoo. Everybody has some startup tech company. We went from booming to uh, waiting on long lines to get to the grocery store. Not even kidding. Lines wrapped around the block. My grandfather said, "Oh, that doesn't look good, right?" And he's very bullish on the economy. He said, "I haven't seen that since communist since since the old days, right? Lines outside the freaking grocery store." 40 million people, I think, applied for unemployment benefits. Um, I know at least 20 million people are unemployed, at least. I don't know if people are just applying for unemployment benefits because everybody was doing it. But um, well, a lot of people need help. They passed, I don't know how many stimulus packages already. Maybe we're on four, five, six, seven. Who knows? Um, so that's what's going on right now. So given all that, right? And I left off Greg Anderson. Okay, this guy's a great cop, right? He puts out a video on YouTube called I forget what it was called, but it was about um, cops arresting people for non-violent offenses. Um, Cops arresting people for going to church. Cops arresting people for you know not social distancing, not wearing a mask. Um, Cops overstepping their bounds. I mean, so he said he was concerned because he said when people, uh, when he just said he was concerned because that the public trust was going to be broken. That's what he said. And then they fired this guy like the next day, 2 days later, and because he wouldn't take down the video. And when they fired this guy, and he was the only cop that I had seen talking about the Constitution and people's rights, and he sounded like he knew the law, and he wasn't talking about race or anything like that. This was before this whole racist protest started. He was talking about the Constitution and people's rights and just being able to go to church, right? They fired him the next day, and I said, "Oh, okay, this is not good, right? This is a little bit worse than I thought it was." And to be honest, them firing him, I'm just gonna let the whole world. I went out and bought a firearm because I said, you know, you can't trust nobody to defend yourself but you, because even the cops will come and trample all over you. And and they're firing the good cops. They're firing the good cops. I don't know. Anyway, when I saw that video, I armed myself. I said, this is a recipe for disaster because these cops and the people from the higher up, and then surely enough, soon after, you get a cop who kills a guy for nothing, literally, and they made it a big race issue. But I mean, the fact is, whether it's racial or not, the dude just killed the guy for no reason. This cop, just because he was just not he was, I don't know if you want to call it neglect or whatever, he kneed on this guy's neck, and he was in a prone position face down, and there were like three other cops on top of this guy. Like, it was just a mess, and all because the cops just don't know how to do their freaking job. So I kind of saw this shit coming. Go watch some First Amendment audits. Go watch this video of Greg Anderson, and you'll see they're hiring the good cops, they're hiring the bad cops and firing the good ones. So now we got the social unrest. These protests have been going on for over a week. Looting has started because everything's closed. So one, you got protesters just out because everything's closed, and they're not. A lot of them aren't working, or they're working from home, or whatever the hell's going on. So there's nowhere for them to go. There's nowhere for them to just go and talk about stuff. They're just in the street in the city. They're just out of their houses in the street, running amok, protesting, and then at night they go out looting and shit. So it's just and nobody knows what's going on, and everyone is begging for more of the same solutions that everybody's been begging for, that have got us in this mess. Everybody's begging for more of the same solutions that got us in this mess. And, that's how I feel. So now, we're at the point where they're talking about defunding the police. They're going to defund the police. And everybody thinks that defunding the police is so racist or whatever the hell. Defunding the police is this whole is a horrible idea, right? Oh yeah, we need the police. We need the police. Police need more money. I heard in L.A. or Cali, police in L.A. just to police that costs us $1 billion, a year. For what? For them to fucking give us tickets? For them to fucking harass us? We're gonna pay tax money for these people to harass us? I said, when I heard that they were gonna defund the police, now here's the real reason that they're defunding the police is because LA's broke, okay? Minnesota's broke. These democratic states are broke. They didn't have balanced budgets. They didn't have balanced budgets before COVID, and now they're not getting any revenue, and they need to cut the budgets. They need to cut everything, right? That's the real reason, but they're using this, racist reason as a political, advantage, right? Don't let a good crisis go to waste. So they need to defund fucking lots of shit, but they're politically taking advantage of the police. But I said, maybe, just maybe, we have too many police, or maybe the police are wasting too many resources on policing. I don't know that for a fact, but maybe cut the budget, make the police a little leaner and meaner, instead of just upping the budget every year for no reason, especially when they're doing a shitty job. I think as a whole, I don't know. I'm not trying to, paint police, but and like when I see these First Amendment audits, a lot of the police are cool, chill, relaxed, whatever. They're cool, but there's just a few that just, I don't know. They walk around with a chip on their shoulder like they got something to prove, man. They really do. And if you don't know your rights, they will walk all over you, for real. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I stand on this. It's funny because I was calling for protest. I knew that these protests were coming. I didn't think they were going to be racial protests. I didn't think that this was going to be the trigger. And nobody thought that some virus was going to be the trigger for, for I don't even know what you could call this. I guess the bubble popped. You know what I mean? Nobody saw coronavirus, corona as being the cause for the bubble popping. But I'm farming now. I'm just an outdoorsman now, and come back to nature. That's what I'm going back to until something changes, and change will come. I'm taking my time, relaxing, just watching, seeing what's going on, watching. But, I am very nervous about this right now. I'm very scared. I don't know how bad things are going to be because people are upset now and nothing has even happened yet. People are upset and, okay, yeah, they lost their jobs. They got a little stimulus check. It's whatever. Things are a little bit tight. Things are tough. But I'm just saying, people are upset and they're not hungry really yet. Wait till they're hungry. I mean, this supply chain is this close to getting cut. I mean, they're already saying, there's going to be increases in meat prices, which was already happening in China. Now it's spreading over here. They're saying, that there was a big scare about the produce when Corona came, to get enough people to pick the produce and all that shit. I mean, and, I was just looking at the usdebtclock.org, right? We are at 125% debt to GDP. I mean, that is insane. 125. Now, the thing that scares me is the rate of increase, because I know that yes, we're going up like $1 trillion like a month, right? In the past like 2-3 months, we went up $1 trillion. We were at like 24, and all of a sudden we're at 25. Now we're already at 26. At this video, we're at like 25.9. So we're pretty much at 26, but we're at 125%. I remember when I started working at my brokerage in Brooklyn, we were at like 107%. And I think last year, stuff started getting a little iffy. And I noticed, we were at we went up fast. We went up, before I knew it, we were at 115. All right, I just remember before I knew it, we were at 115. Now before I know it, we're at 125. So I mean, I think that they're expecting us to be like Japan, where we got, and Japan's savings. Go look at Japan's freaking debt to GP. It's like 200%. So everybody's like, well, the debt doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? But we're not Japan. All right. Let me say that we're not. You know, we consume and we don't produce. Japan saves and they probably produce a lot. So I just know there's a large difference between our economies and Japan's economies. But yeah, I just, if there's a lot of people that have a lot of great ideas right now for how to reduce the budget, for how to shrink government, besides cutting the police, which that might be, you know, if that's what we have to do to shrink government is cut the police. But really what we need is to cut some of these welfare programs, and we need to get rid of a lot of these regulations. If you want to make it racial, get rid of these regulations that keep, that make it so much more uncompetitive for black people. The minimum wage, the war on drugs, the even public schools. It's amazing how all this public schooling is now going online. I mean, these teachers are teaching kindergartners online now. Now, I don't think that that's right or anything, but let's be real. We could have way cheaper schooling for kids. I mean, the priests and the nuns used to do it, I think, for free. So, I mean, schooling is not expensive, but we're spending a crazy amount on it. So the budgets are just ridiculous, and for no reason, I think. We could be doing a lot more with less, but it's just, we're not used to it. We're not used to saving. We're not used to cutting spending. So we need to check the government. And I want to say one more thing too before my phone overheats. Okay. There is a attempt to try to and I've seen Trump do it himself, right? Because the second that the protests started, they were outside the White House, okay? And they're in 21 countries. They're all over the United States. They're protesting in France. They're protesting all over the world, right? Trump comes out and goes, "Oh well, I wouldn't be surprised if MAGA comes out sometime soon against these protesters and these looters and this Antifa." This dude is trying to put us against each other instead of him. I swear to God, I saw it clear as day. This dude is trying to pit us against each other instead of pitting us against the government, the real culprit here. And it's scary because, I know that the conservatives and the liberals are on the same side on this issue. I think, yes, a lot of the liberals think it's a racial issue, but I know that a lot of the conservatives realize that it's a constitutional issue. And, everybody wants less power from the police. As a whole, I think everybody just does, So it's a little bit scary seeing the right and the left, how they're pitting the right and the left against each other right now, instead of focusing on the real cause, which is this massive, enormous, monstrous, mammoth government that we have. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Thanks, YouTube. Cheers.